that, Milt, I give Milt credit for stepping up here, and he probably took some bullets from me, but, I go back to past management with Glenn Cobb back through the 90s, and just my experience, and a lot of these experiences growing up on the lake, and living here on the lake, when it comes to Mother Nature, it's hard to win. And, that lake level issue, I've said it, I'll say it again, it's going to be an issue when I'm long gone and they put the sod over top of me. So, what I will say is just what Milt said. I'm sitting next to Milt there afterwards. If we want to talk, we can certainly do that. So, who would have expected to go into a drought situation this year, but we did. So, and there's not much we can do about it at this point, so we'll move forward and go from there. So, what I've been dealing with here most recently, you can all imagine, has been the latest storm. Last Friday, of course, we all got our butts kicked by a big storm, and we spent about a week or so here now cleaning that up. Appreciate some of the kind words this morning from some of you, giving me credit for how well we've got things cleaned up so quick, but I can't take any of that credit at all. It's my staff. They've done a great job of getting it all cleaned up. Most of you probably seen the East Bank or maybe Windy Point or the West Bank, which we had barricaded off so you couldn't get back there. It was pretty dramatic. So we've been working for about a week getting that cleaned up. We've got most of it cleaned up. We're just cleaning up some of the smaller stuff. We'll be doing that over the next week or so here. The dredge guys this week were out cleaning up a lot of the areas. I know Prairie Creek was totally impassable, and a lot of your channels had different trees down. So with that, if there's any other ones out there that we've missed, definitely give the office a call Monday and let us know so we can get out there and get those out of the way. Our policy, just so everybody knows, on the trees, the down trees, if it falls from your property, we expect you to clean it up even if it's blocking a waterway. If the tree comes from your property, we need you to do that. But if it does come off of state property, we will take care of it. So, dock invoices, I've talked about in the past, they were due May 1st. If you haven't got yours paid, you're going to be getting a visit from the park officer. I've turned those over to our park officers now to follow up with. So if you haven't, please come forward and get that taken care of. Camping's been decent here at Grand Lake. We've averaged about 50 to 60 campsites the last several weekends. This week was sort of a messed up week with the 4th in the center. We had a pretty decent weekend last weekend. We had some people that stayed this week, all week, about 50 campers, and then today we've got about 50 campsites occupied. Our cabins are all full. Of course, in this heat, we've had some people just give up and go home. Just couldn't take it. So, some projects we've got completed. There is a new restroom completed in our campground now. That's a replacement of a 60s facility, and that's just one of many facilities in our campground, but we did get that completed. If anybody's been by the East Bank Marina, we got that project completed. If you haven't, take a drive by that and see that. We expanded that launch ramp, put new, I guess it's called extruded metal grates down on the launch ramp. So that's a very clean, nice new facility down there at the East Bank Marina. And we're still continuing to work on the dog park at the East Bank. And that's a partnership with the City of St. Mary's and the Wright State University 2012 leadership class. So, if you haven't been fishing lately, it's still good. We got a bass tournament out this morning. I talked to the guys at the Thursday night fun tournament that goes out of Eagles. It's still catching good bass. We've got a tournament out of the East Bank Marina today. They're looking to have a good weigh-in for that. Bluegill fishing is good. I know the catfishing has been good. Herb said the turtles are biting, or he's catching turtles, they're just not big enough. But they got to be 13 inches, Herb? 13 inches to keep them. That was a law. They changed this a couple years ago. So, the dredging, like I said, we lost most of last week for the cleanup, which I think everybody understands. But from here moving forward, the Eagle dredge continues to pump at Coldwater Creek, and it will be down there for most of the season. As everybody knows, last year we dredged up the creek towards the 127 bridge as far as we could, and now we're just digging a big hole out in front of there so that when future material comes down, it can drop out into a made sediment trap there. The pump a little. If you haven't seen it, it's a little bit hard to see unless you go by boat. It's down here at Anderson's, Mercer County Sportsman's Club area working. There's 2 channels there we're trying to get dredged out. And then Brutus, the newest dredge, was down at Anderson's. We took it back to the shop to make a couple of repairs to it, and now it's going to head over to Otterbein Monday, Tuesday of this week. So What I do want to remind everybody, and I thank Nancy and Mike from the papers for running articles for us, but the dredge pipe from the Otterbein job will go down in front of Southport Shores, in front of Rustic, over to the Rustic DMRA there. So be aware of that. You know, it is a 12-inch pipe, and with these lake levels, you've got to be very aware of that because that 12-inch pipe's laying on the bottom, and with the lake levels we got, you very well could hit that. So remember that pipe is marked with the 18-inch round orange balls. Those balls should be on about every 50 to 75 yards. So when you see those orange balls, be aware, line them up. And there's a pipe between those that's laying on the bottom, but you know, still you need to slow down, trim your lower unit, or trim your outboard motor up when you cross those areas. So, and if anybody would ever see that on a weekend that you've seen that pipe's actually surfaced, make sure to call into the park office. Our phone is answered from about 8 a.m. till midnight each weekend also, or if you can't get a hold of us, call the Sheriff's Department, they'll notify us, just because we never know when things may happen. So be aware of that when you're in those areas for that dredge pipe. So, our next event we got coming up is the Lake Festival. We got Co-Chairman Kevin Piles here with us today. That's going to be July 27th through the 29th with fireworks on the 27th. That's Friday night for the fireworks. There's some brochures in the back there if anybody needs some. That's got the agenda on it. And the theme for this year's Lake Festival is Where Everybody Knows Your Name. So we've got the ski show coming back. Thanks to all of you. The Lake Improvements once again sponsoring the ski show. And the AMPA cars are excited they're going to be back again, so that'll be here in just a few weeks. So, microsystem levels, just so everybody knows, our levels have went up the last couple weeks. When we went into the first part of June, we had levels ranging from 10.3 to 23, and that's parts per billion. You know, we posted the advisory signs, and we can't take the advisory signs down until that gets down to 6 parts per billion. And then on June 18th, we ranged 13 to 21.2. And then the most recent times, like on the week of June 24th, our levels ranged 21.6 to 49.4. And then this past week, our levels ranged anywhere from 29 to 47.4. So we're definitely not seeing the levels we've seen in 2010 or even the levels we've seen last year. Our levels are staying good, you know, for everything we've experienced with the drought, with the heat, with everything that's been going on. Those levels are still good, but be aware we still have that advisory posted out there. So I have some pamphlets back there on the table where I'm sitting. If anybody wants one, feel free to pick one up. But these pamphlets are going to go up at our launch ramps, at the bulletin boards. We'll have these available to folks coming in, and of course we'll have them available at the park office. But basically it's going to explain a little bit more to folks about harmful algal blooms, and it's just an educational piece to tell people what to look for, what to do. So I'll let you guys, if you want to pick one up, if you're interested, you pick one up there at my table. But, you know, it talks about here on the back, I'll just read real quick. What should I do if I see a harmful algal bloom? And it says stay out of the water that may have a harmful algal bloom. Don't let your children play in the harmful algal bloom debris on shore. And here's the key one to me is, and you know, we've always had to live with this. After swimming or wading in lake water, even where no harmful algal blooms are visible, rinse off with fresh water as soon as possible. Never swallow any lake or river water, whether you see HABs or not. Don't let pets lick harmful algal bloom material from their fur or eat harmful algal bloom material. Do not drink or cook with lake water. So I just want you to pick that up. It's got the facts about the harmful algal blooms if you want to pick one of those up, and those will be on our launch ramp. So with that, you know, those of us, like I said earlier, it's been around for a while. We know that when lake levels get to be where they're at, we've got to vote smart. If some of you have issues, which I know a lot of people right now are having issues in their channels, you know, if you think it's an issue that need future dredge attention, of course, as you know, unless you're on one of our projects for this year, you're not going to get attention this year. But make sure that you submit those to us in writing. That's the way we've handled that for several years now. If you've got a dredge request for your area, submit that to the park office, to myself or to Tom, in writing, with your concerns of your area, and then it'll be checked out and prioritized. So, but just remember, we got to vote smart and make sure during our events and throughout the rest of the summer that we've got sober skippers. And you know, the big thing is make sure those kids and yourself, if you have those life jackets either on or available. So, with that, I'll take any questions that are out there. Anybody? Alex.
Probably not Question for you or maybe Bill. Since I asked you a couple months ago, is the one tube at West Bank, is it still cracked open, letting some water?
Yep. There is one tube open at the West Bank, cracked 2 inches, and I ran that through our engineers, and that tube being cracked open 2 inches, if we have that open May to October, that would impact the lake level by 1 inch. So we've decided to keep that open, Maine to keep that open. So, any other questions? All right. Well, everybody have a safe weekend, and it looks like we're going to get a little relief here next week. So, thanks, Mark.